All right, just for fun, let's create a little flying insect alien guy. So to start, I'm gonna grab my sphere, draw my sphere out, and let's go to edit mode, make it polymesh 3D, and I'm gonna also turn it into dynamesh. All right, so the first thing I would like to do on my character is create a nose. For the nose, I'm going to use curve tube. So right now this is Z, so this is the front of the character, so I'm going to make sure that the front is currently on my left, and I'm just going to draw a nose. Alright, now I want my character to be, now this is a crazy alien with like a really funny nose, so this is going to be much thicker. So to make him thicker, I'm going to make this much larger and click. And you know what? I'm actually wanting something even larger, so something like that is what I was looking for. And I'm gonna grab this and push it in. And it's a little off center right now, which is okay. I'm gonna click on the mesh one time. And now I'm gonna grab my move tool and just put it right in the middle, or about. All right, now since I'm in Dynamesh, I'm gonna click Control and drag to unmask this. Drag again to connect the shapes. And I'm gonna polish. So now I have this kind of a nose looking thing. All right, let's grab our inflate and just inflate the top of his nose. Something like that. And you know what? I'm gonna do it even larger. And even larger. Something like that is what I was looking for. All right, now I'm gonna re-dynamesh and polish. That looks nice. Now I'm gonna grab my clip and clip right here. Hold down Shift and just flatten that out. All right, now let's actually grab our, we're still in our inflate brush, so I'm gonna hold down Alt and just kind of press this in. Maybe a little more. And re-dynamesh and polish. Okay. That looks pretty awesome. Now I would like to add a couple big eyeballs. And to do that, I'm just going to go to my subtools and do an append and grab a sphere, grab my move tool and just kind of make sure my eyeball is selected. Just kind of put it in place. And at this point, why not also fill our object white? So I'm going to actually switch this to, I don't know, let's do a skin shade 4. And I'm gonna grab, my eyeball is filled in. Let's grab my body and make it, how about just purple, fill object. All right, something like that is cool. Grab my eyeball and I'm gonna actually just scale it down. I kind of want these eyeballs to be ginormous, so that's just super cartoony looking character. So I'm going to put one here, and then if we want to, we can actually dynamesh it as well. Let's dynamesh this eyeball. So let's make a clone. I'm going to click duplicate and drag it out, hide the wireframe. So obviously right now, they're not really centered, but I kind of want to actually scale this one down just to be, again, super cartoony. Kind of like that is what I was looking for. So I'm pretty happy. And next, let's go ahead and give him some, maybe a couple stripes on his body. So I'm gonna go to my body and I'm gonna actually turn on my wireframe. Press Control W, make sure everything is one poly group, And I'm gonna grab my slice rectangular, Control Shift, and just do a slice here and maybe same size here. Something like that I think is nice. Next, I'm going to go to Geometry, Dynamesh. I'm going to turn on my groups, turn off the wireframe, and while the groups are on, I'm going to open circle polish by feature. Just do this a bunch of times. Okay, and now let's actually turn these into something even cooler. So I'm gonna Control Shift and click. Actually, let's clear our masking and then turn on our wireframe. Go to Draw and then Control Shift and click, and then click again. Drag to get rid of the mask. And let's go ahead and paint these maybe something fun like a bright pink. All right. I think that's pretty cool. Now, another thing we could do if we wanted to is actually mask these and split on mask points. Well, first we have to unhide the rest of the mesh and now split. Okay, let's go back to our body and re-Dynamesh, and go back here, Dynamesh that as well, and let's inflate this a little bit. And once we inflated it, let's re-Dynamesh and polish. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that looks pretty cool. Next, let's grab our, let's give him a little tushy in the back here. So I'm gonna actually go to my body, turn on my wireframe. I'm gonna grab my slice curve and just kind of slice, say okay, slice the back here, give him a new poly group. And now I just want to kind of maybe, let's do Control Shift and click again. And what I want to do is paint this part black. So I'm going to go to black, and maybe not exactly black, just a little, let's go to like our blues family and just kind of make it almost black, kind of grayish, bluish. And do a fill object. Let's see how that looks. Control Shift click. Alright, and now right now everything is kind of jaggedy, so what I would like to do is actually separate this part. So I'm going to click on this part, hold on Control and mask it, and then Control Shift and click to unhide it and split. And now my tushy is its own subtool. Now I can go ahead and Dynamesh it maybe a few times, maybe even polish it and inflate it. Let's just inflate it. Re-Dynamesh, polish, go here, re-Dynamesh, polish. Alright, so to clean this up, we need to make sure that our body is all purple. So I'm going to make sure I'm on my body layer and hover over this purple, press C and do a fill object. Alright, and that will give us a much nicer. Now it's still not looking very nice. So let's go ahead and maybe go to Geometry and zRemeshed, and let's just zRemeshed this thing. And I'm gonna actually do it again. Let's do half. And do it again. Essentially, I'm just trying to kind of round off these edges one more time. So it's becoming more and more round, as you can see, right? So I'm going to turn off my wireframe, and I want to make sure that it's black. Alright, so now since we kind of got our shape back, now I can actually, it's still a Dynamesh, so I can go ahead and re-Dynamesh it and polish. And maybe polish it again. So that kind of fixed the shape a little bit. Now another thing we could do just for fun is go to our material, and we can actually turn on toy plastic. Just give us even more fun colors. Alright, so now let's go and grab our, how about the snake hook, and just on the back here I'm just gonna pull out kind of the tushy part. And I'm actually not happy because it's not centered. So what I would like to do is do it kind of from the top view. Just pull this out. Yeah, something like that. And let's grab our spiral, make it really big, and just kind of twist a little bit. If we wanted to, we can also move it. I'm actually liking this. This is pretty cool. I'm going to re-Dynamesh and polish. And keep in mind, I'm doing all of this in kind of a low resolution, 128. So this whole character right now is only 166,000 points. It's sort of a low poly for ZBrush. Alright, now let's grab our, let's go to our eyes and maybe give them a couple pupils. So to do that, I'm actually gonna go to my brushes and let's grab, I'm gonna press I, and let's grab our insert brush, press M, and I'm gonna grab my, how about just sphere? And maybe I can just insert an eyeball here and one there. Okay. And we can grab our move tool, kind of move it, maybe move it in a little bit. Okay, and now if I wanted to, I can actually go to split and do a split to similar parts. Hold on, control and made me mask this guy, this, and split. Now both of these eyeballs are split into pieces. Grab my move tool and let's go ahead and center it here. Press Alt and click, center it there, and now I can kind of move this into place. I think that's pretty good. Alright, and another thing we could do, let's hold down Alt and click on the body and maybe see if we can inflate it a little bit. And control drag to re-Dynamesh, polish. Now when I inflated it, as you could see, it grabbed the, it kind of hug the sides a little better, and I kind of like that. I think that's really cool. Now another thing we could do is actually grab our inflate brush and just go around and inflate this, just so it's not so perfect. The character doesn't feel organic to me when it's so perfect. Maybe let's mess this up a little bit. Redynamesh. I think that looks a little better. And we could polish it a little bit. Okay. And finally, let's give him a couple legs, really skinny legs, just for additional humor. All right, so for that, I'm gonna grab my curve, my tube, or curve tube, and press X, turn my symmetry on, and just draw a couple legs here. And I actually would like these to be kind of tapered at the end. So to get that effect, I'm gonna go to stroke, and let's go ahead and just drag this thing over here. Turn the size on, and with the size on, when we click on our line, you could see that it gives us kind of these horn things. If I go to fall off and flip it, click on the line again, it kind of reverses them and maybe kind of pull them in a little. And I think that looks really cool. Now, if I click on the body once, these are still masked, so I can say split. And now with these selected, I can actually inflate them a little bit, so they're not so sharp at the end. And maybe move them, and maybe even rotate them, and also redynamesh them, and then polish. So something like that is cool. I'm actually gonna duplicate them and move my clones in the back, rotate them. Maybe scale them in a little. We could do the same thing here to scale them in a little. Just so he has like 4 weird looking legs. Alright, so I think that is pretty neat. I think that is gonna be my character. Let's go to our BPR and check it out. The only other thing that we should add is maybe a couple wings. So to do the wings, I'm just going to append a, let's do a cylinder. And I'm going to rotate my cylinder. I can rotate it. Now, when you're rotating, if you want it to snap, just hold down Shift, and that will give you the even number. So I want kind of a 90-degree even number, and then I'm going to move this up. And now what I would like to do is actually slice this, or I guess I could just scale. So if I scale this, that will give me kind of a cartoony wing I'm looking for. Maybe make them really small. And as far as the color goes, maybe I can make them kind of a bluish, something like that. Maybe turn on Dynamesh, redynamesh, and polish, so it's smooth. And we can even make them a little thinner if we wanted to, so they're a little more fragile. Alright, then from the top view, let's go ahead and just kind of move them in the middle, maybe between the 2 stripes. And now if I hold on, actually let's rotate them. And now I think that looks pretty good. Now to flip it, I'm actually just gonna do a mirror visible subtools, and you can actually do that if you wanted to from your subtool master, and just do a mirror and just I'm gonna say new subtool, say OK. So that gives me the two wings, and if we wanted to, we could actually merge them down. Let's go ahead and merge down. This way we can move them. So maybe from this view, you could just move them up just a little bit. And I think that pretty much concludes our character. Let's go to draw and check this out. So if we wanted to change the background, of course you can set it to maybe kind of like a blue sky, and then go to document and just click back and do BPR. My grid is too small, so let's go ahead and change the grid size. So there you go. I think that looks pretty cool. Now this will definitely be 1,000 times better if you rendered with KeyShot. So, but play around with it, and I hope you guys learned a ton, and I'll see you guys in the next video.